This episode is brought to you by Classical Conversations. To find out more, please visit classicalconversations.com.
Cross Politic begins in 3, 2, 1.
I'm a heart that breaks for a dying city.
Stop cursing your future.
Is not true.
For all intents and purposes, I am a woman.
No government, no political system has ultimate supremacy. Jesus is King of Kings, and it's about time our nation returned in humble submission to his lordship.
You are not protecting women. You are authorizing the destruction of 500,000 little women every year.
I didn't start it. But, sir, with all due respect, that's the argument of a 5-year-old. I didn't start it.
Right, when the Spirit comes upon people, they go to war. They go to battle, and the enemies of God are driven back, and they're slaughtered.
You are listening to Cross Politic with Gabe Wrench, the Water Boy, Pastor Toby Sumter, and the Chocolate Knox.
All right, hey, y'all, welcome to Cross Politic. We're already having a conversation going. This is going to be a great show. We have, of course, as you guys can see, Darren Doane with us. Director, movie producer, provocateur.
Yeah.
Darren Doane.
Even movie star.
Movie star.
That's true. Yeah, that's
Darren
true.
Doane.
It's kind of like when you throw a party and you invite certain people, but like I'm like the gamble. I might be the drunk guy that shows up. You're just never quite sure what's going to happen.
It depends on if everybody else is drunk too. Then you fit right in, right?
We just watched. My family actually just watched. Just in the last couple of weeks, we rewatched for the first time in a long time Mercy Rule.
Oh wow, okay.
And you have a cameo. I
do. That's actually my inner me.
I know.
I am stopping that character all day long. All day long.
But Darren is so fun. It's so fun.
Thank you.
We really we had a great time watching that movie. And did you have anything to do with that? Were you involved with that, David?
Towards the end. That was right when I was being brought in. Yeah.
Mercy Rule, Kirk Cameron, written by Indy Wilson.
Yes.
And our friend Darren makes a little cameo with his family in the stands.
Yep, that's right.
And we'll get into more of the intro, more stuff that you're involved in.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a live show here August 25th.
I was the subject.
At 4 p.m. We'll get back to you. August 25th at 4 p.m. And we have Timothy Brindle coming out. Hey.
Is that Timothy Brindle?
That's Timothy Brindle.
Really?
Go baptize your kids if you have some.
I didn't know.
That's
all right?
Timbo.
No.
So we got Timothy Brindle coming out, do a live show.
So if you've been wondering what the deal is with this line,
go baptize your kids if you have children.
Then hey, this is our chance.
Yes.
We could talk to the guy who sang that or said that or
rapped that.
Rapped that.
Oh, poor.
How do I say that?
Wow.
Are you done?
Oh man, that's great. So this is at Christ Church's Post College Life Conference. So you can sign up. Post College Life. It's $40. I think it's $40 to go to the conference. You can go to our church's website, christkirk.com. Under events, you'll be able to find more information about it. The topic for the conference is Cannonball Christianity. Toby has a talk.
I'm going to be giving a talk.
Yes.
What you talking about?
He does.
What you talking about, Toby?
I should pull it up and see what it says.
Why are you looking at Gabe like he was looking for the date? You're looking crazy.
I thought it said cannibal. When I looked over, I was like, cannibal?
Cannibal Christianity.
Yeah. Wow.
No.
It's
cannibal.
Have you read John 6 recently?
It's very first century.
Yeah. I'm giving the opening talk. I've got talk number 1, it says. What's really going on out there, how to read the story, and your role in it.
What's going on? What's going on?
Go.
What's going on? So you're going to be doing what's going on?
That's my talk.
So, what's the question real quick before you go, if you have a second?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, what is going on?
I'm going to be talking about Daniel.
So you got a new diet plan.
Yeah.
That's right. Actually.
Okay.
That's right. I got a new diet plan.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm going to be talking about. So this is we're talking to young professionals, people that are in the world trying to make a difference.
Okay.
And I want to use the story of Daniel as a type for
compromise.
How to think about.
Wow.
You get hired on by Babylon University, right? You get Babylon Inc. You get hired on by Persia International.
You getting ready for this?
No, I'm just because I'm sure you guys know this, but in this position you're kind of like this, so I'm trying to figure out how to be a part of this.
This
thing here,
and
be facing everybody.
I'm just going to let him just do that thing.
You do
that thing. Anyways, that's what I'm going to talk about, because I think we everybody wants. What's the saying? Everybody wants to be the hero, but everyone wants to save the world, but nobody wants to help mom do the dishes.
Yep.
Oh. Okay.
Everybody says, I'm going to be so brave. I'm going to be so courageous when I get, when the boss calls me in and says, I need you to give the keynote address for defending transgenderism. And you're like, oh no, I'd never do that.
Yep.
I'm going to stand my ground.
I'm brave.
I'm going to be brave and courageous. And you say, probably not. Probably when that happens, you're going to cave, unless you've actually been practicing courage and making careful distinctions from the get-go when it comes to things like what you eat.
Right.
Okay, there you go.
Well, there's the Daniel plan.
That's worth my $40.
That's the
I paid for that.
That's good.
And then Cross Politic is doing a show.
We're doing a live show
at the end of that conference
on Saturday at 4:00. End of the conference
with Timothy Brendel.
Baptize your kids if you got some.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that.
He should say if you got some.
I think he said it right.
I mean, he said if you have some, maybe but he'd be like if you got some.
When he's here, you can ask him if he thinks that would be an improvement.
Please don't do this.
This is like being at like a family reunion, but you're the guest that's not related. and you're like, you guys should.
I'll just sit right here and drink my coffee. Hey, real quick, we gotta plug our club membership before we move on here.
Yeah, let's do some other stuff.
Yes, let's go on. I have to move this along.
I could have come at 1:45.
I have to move this along. And we just want to thank you guys. Our digital content, we're done with our first disc of our Worldview series. So all our club members, you guys, I'll be uploading that on Saturday.
What's the name of the Worldview series?
Our Shotgun Worldview series.
Just making sure you had that. Okay.
Our Shotgun Worldview series. And someone, actually, I was working on our website last week and uploading half of the digital Worldview series online, and someone went and bought it.
Way to go.
Well, it was only halfway uploaded?
It was only halfway uploaded, and someone went and bought it, and I was like, no!
Why are you crying about that? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's dedication right there.
So the poor gentleman had to wait. He's a listener from the UK, had to wait, and I sent him a link today to be able to download the whole series and everything.
So the first 10 episodes are now up. The first 10 chapters of Cross Politic Worldview Shotgun series.
Yep.
And you can buy them if you're not a member. You can buy them for
$9.99,
$10.
Yeah. And we're also doing a Bible study sale, also a Bible study package where you can buy 5 to 10 licenses depending on how many for.
So you can share them with your family.
Yeah. And there'll be pricing for that.
You can involve people who don't feel like they're part of the family, feel like they just got to do like their Bible reading while they're waiting for.
Yeah.
Well, when a pastor has his Bible, it's always fun to grab it and see where the notes are. I just go to like 1 Corinthians 15. I just see what notes they got and stuff. And 14, 15, and just see what's going on.
He's just loading up on Toby's notes like,
I know what to say now. So that's coming out. That's rolling out to all our club members this weekend. And if you sign up for our club membership, you obviously can get free access
for free.
Yeah, for free. Plus access to discounts in our merch store and other digital content we're actually going to be dropping here in the next couple months.
But we have
maybe Darren might have some digital content for our club members we can talk him into or something.
Let's put him on the spot now. Like, what can you give us?
I got plenty of stuff that nobody wants. So believe me, I was actually thinking like, what could I give?
Shoot, you got me.
I got lots of stuff that turns out nobody wanted.
Okay. So Darren, I got to start with your state, man, California. You're from California, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Were you born and raised there?
Born, bred, and spread.
So what's going on?
It says Westlake Village here.
Yeah, Westlake. Yeah,
on Wikipedia.
Wow. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah,
on Wikipedia. So what's going on with Santa Barbara? Have you been following Santa Barbara? They're making straws illegal. So
it's about time.
So businesses can get starting at a $250 fine, and at one point the city council.
You say $250 fine? That's worse than a parking ticket.
Yeah.
Or a speeding ticket.
Up to 6 months of jail time. Yeah, the city council's dialing back the jail time thing. But the city council's basically wanting to require businesses to not give out straws anymore, hand out straws and all that stuff.
Awkwardly, I'm all for it. One, I think you should man up and just sip straight from a cup on any beverage.
So your problem's functional. It's a functional problem.
Yeah. Well, and secondly,
have you seen the face men make when they sip from a straw?
That's what I mean. It's just it's a little sweet.
So you object
aesthetically. It's an aesthetic
object to straws on aesthetic grounds.
Yes, absolutely.
It's effeminate.
Well, yeah. It's just or ambiguous.
Okay.
You know,
which is effeminate.
Yeah, sure. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
But and then so I'd actually be all for that. And it's sort of like we get all these things and we get all these blessings, and at some point though, when something gets taken away, you got to kind of wonder like what actually just happened here, you know? And there is I don't know what language we can use on the show, but there is.
I got a beat button over here, so just
there is so much plastic in the ocean right now. It's insanity.
Yeah. Yep.
And so maybe we didn't do that personally. We're not sitting there throwing our straws in and all that stuff. But look, when something like that comes downstream to us, no pun intended. It's okay. Something happened. We didn't take care of something. You know,
you say it's like the oil light coming on.
Yeah,
something's wrong.
I mean, it's so whoever we put in charge of us, and they put in charge of them, whatever's going on, all this plastic is ending up in the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's bad.
But largely, that's not coming from the U.S.
No,
we have good sanitation processes.
He's granting that. He's saying that.
Right.
No, but what I'm saying is, but that's what ends up happening is that we have all these relationships. We're in bed with everybody, and so we're doing one thing, we're doing the other. You got China, you got us, you got all these currents, all this stuff, and then you get to Bali, and they're literally swimming
in trash,
and plastic, you know. And so I'm the last guy to get all environmental, whatever, and this and that. But at some point, if you don't pick up your poop and you keep letting it go in the ocean, it's like someone's going to figure it out. I grew up in California. I know what it's like to go to the beach, and it just shut down because there's just trash, whatever laws we have with excrement coming into our oceans. It's like it's a little high today.
But then do you look at the answer to the problem is saying then what we need to do in America, who's not responsible for any of this, what we need to do is ban straws?
Sure, why not?
But so the people who are not guilty of the crime need to be punished for it.
You don't. You're not guaranteed a straw in life.
No, but I mean, this is.
But for the city council to regulate it.
But here's part of the question though. So
we sold the farm so long ago, and now we're upset about straws.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm going to speak up.
You're taking my straw.
You took my straw away.
It takes that though, right?
But yeah, that's the point. Is I'm getting at. It's like, I mean, so
straw that broke the camel.
That was good.
Yeah. I mean, but
watch it, guys. Darren has a gun here, so you got to be careful how you approach this.
That's why I've been so quiet so far. I've been trying to be really nice.
You can kill the babies, but this straw.
I don't want to get shot by my mentor.
But that's actually that's the point, though. Is like Californistan or whatever you want to call it. But like, I mean, we're regulating everything.
Right, but that's why I left.
Is that
you
can have a straw?
Yeah,
you wanted a straw.
But there's I mean. Have you ever thought, like, is it an accident that the droughts are so bad in California?
Well, it is a desert.
Yeah.
So I don't. So in one sense,
part of it's a desert, not all. Of it.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Northern California is flush with water.
Absolutely.
Does God send droughts on California?
Yeah, I mean,
well, that's a turn.
I'd let someone like you answer that question.
Yeah,
I saw your Bible notes.
I saw 1 Corinthians 14. I saw what you had underlined.
I think part of the issue is like it's virtual signaling. If we're outlawing straws, but then letting abortion on demand in the state, I mean, it just didn't line up.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't seem to me like California really cares about straws. It doesn't seem to me like California really cares about plastic in Bali.
Yeah, but
I mean, there are people who do, and I'm not disagreeing with the fact that that's a problem.
Darren does,
but yeah, I mean, they're killing babies, they're stealing, tax rates, the kinds of regulation that they're doing,
everything that made you come to Idaho.
It's like and they suddenly grew a moral backbone, or is this not about that?
I think I take a little more of a twisted view on it. I just really enjoy it. Because
now that you're gone,
because people act as if these decisions and these people making these decisions just came down from space,
like it just happened out of nowhere,
right?
Thin air.
Yeah.
They're all people.
Yeah,
they're just people who said we want to make the rules around here.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they're making the rules because they said we want to make the rules. And so I look at that and I go, what more do you need to see to go, if you want to make the rules, just get involved, get elected, and make the rules. get behind. I mean, it's really easy, but nobody wants to get involved. And so if you don't want to get involved, then you wake up one day and someone said, you don't get a straw.
So it's kind of something that we've been talking about here for a long time.
Yeah, fair enough. What about this question? So we offline earlier before you got into the studio.
And by the way, I thought that was the free market. I mean, look, in the sense that these businesses, if they're making the decision to go with the regulations and they were a part of it, whatever. Look, the businesses could have said, no, it's going to ruin business. It's going to. They don't care. Right. Now, every time I take a bite of something, I get that funky wood flavor in my mouth, that I don't want comboing with my foods. But those are the businesses. That's what they're doing. We don't have to go there.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So what about this aspect? Knox brought up when we were talking about this offline before the show got started was why ban straws? Like why the straw?
Did he just
why
take my
focus on the
lead?
straw?
He took my lead.
Yeah, it's like
didn't he?
0.00 something of the actual plastic.
Why straws?
Right.
But I mean, is that like?
But this is like,
He
Doug,
took my
our
lead.
pastor. I didn't know if you're going to go there or not. This is our pastor brought up. Can I finish the story? You remember when all the
Oh, tell me if you need help, because I remember
all the monuments were being taken down. You know,
also
the Confederate flag, Robert E. Lee, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Pastor Wilson's point was like, hey, there's a bigger play going on here.
Right.
This isn't about the monument.
If they get your straws, they're going to get something else.
Right. So in some sense, that's
and so we were talking. We're like, so what are they after with the straw?
Why the straw?
Why not lids?
Well, I don't think it's that. Look, the reason why I get kind of giddy about it is because everything that's happening right now seems to only affect people that go to Starbucks. And so there's, and so
you're like, maybe this is
this is what's
like,
funny.
Judgment!
No, I mean, liberals continue to judge themselves. It's kind of like when liberals get upset about smoking cigarettes, and you're like, who smokes cigarettes except all the liberals? Like,
That's right.
as far as being open about it, right? You know,
weed.
and now it's weed, so now it's bad. So to me, this is really fun because it's Starbucks who's going through sensitivity training. Oh, hello!
Oh, careful!
It's Starbucks who's going through sensitivity training. It's
Yeah.
Starbucks and all
That's
these
funny.
places that are losing their straw. I just go, they're just regulating themselves now. This is
or who are the ones killing their babies?
Or they're the ones.
Right,
They're the ones being consistent with themselves. So it's no surprise when liberals start dying off because they're killing their own children.
Right. Who's ending up old age without any children to take care of them in the nursing home?
Remember last week we were talking about this?
And no straw to eat their food through.
Right. Exactly.
See, it's all going to cash out, they're going to.
Wow.
The Proverbs actually say something about digging a hole and falling into it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So then you have no problem letting them like completely swallow this reductio. You're like, guys, eat it all the way. Go all the way.
Absolutely.
And you're like, Christians, don't help. Don't stop it.
No.
Stop it. Don't help them.
Let them do this.
You're like, if you want to get out of there, move to Idaho.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what Dee did.
But just don't vote like you're in California, right?
But that's part of the problem. Is they are part of the problem.
Seriously,
right?
And frequently that's what happens. Those people move away, and then they were like, oh, no,
right. But it's funny, you know, when I left California, I didn't leave because I wanted to get rid of California. I mean, I came to Idaho because of the people that were here.
You believe in the real California?
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. That's a little
kind of heavy, but
no, like Narnia, like the real Narnia.
Oh, okay.
Like you know, like
I haven't read the book.
On that note,
Darren.
But I did just get through for the first time. I read Magician's Nephew.
Okay, Last Battle is the last one, and then you'll know about
Don't ruin it for me.
The true Narnia, the real Narnia,
for real,
true California.
Whoa.
True America.
When we come back on Cross Politics, we're going to talk more with my mentor, Darren Doane. I'm a little nervous. I'll tell you a story, but Darren. Next on Cross Politics. Try not to get shot.
Classical Conversation supports homeschooling parents by cultivating the love of learning through a Christian worldview in fellowship with other families. We provide a classical, Christ-centered curriculum, local, like-minded communities across the United States and in several countries, and we train parents who are striving to be great classical educators in the home. For more information and to get connected, please visit our website at classicalconversations.com. Classical, Christian, get connected, get community.
I have mine right here.
Hey,
story time!
Coop doesn't have his headphones.
Story time.
He can lip read.
Well, But now I know I haven't been able to get a hold of Coop. You guys got him.
Welcome back to Cross Politic. The filmmaker, business mogul.
The legend.
Darren Doane,
man.
my mentor. Okay, I got to tell a quick story. So, I'm in California. Oh, no, before I get to California, I'm in Georgia. I'm working on a TV set, and we see this interview happen, and we were blown away. I didn't know who Darren Doane was. I had no idea who this guy was. This guy with a big beard. It was a crazy interview. He took this person and made them way more interesting than they've ever been. We'd seen all kinds of stuff with this person and seen them as like, wow, this person has never looked this unique. You know which one I'm talking about?
I do, yeah.
Yep.
I do.
I think I know.
And,
I think I know.
I don't.
Can I say his name?
No, I'm doing this on purpose.
All right.
And so we took that show and we said, you know what? He did this with like 3 cameras. He's the guy on the sitting there with the microphone in front of him, and it's just crazy, and it looks good. We're like, how can we make our show like that? It's like, I don't know. That was the birth of Wretched. We tried to do a show. When we left FamilyNet, watching that interview was how we tried to do our show, where it was simple, it was high quality, and it made the main thing, and it was unique. Well, after that, I started following Darren. I don't know if you saw me start liking all his Twitter posts. The saddest thing that happened to the world was Darren leaving Twitter. I'm just going to tell you. It really was, because now I got to go to Instagram.
Yeah, I noticed that. Why did you leave Twitter? I went to your Twitter account a couple of months ago.
I'm sure he's going to explain that.
All right.
So anyway, I go to Twitter, and me and Marcus Pittman, we're working together. We had this Crown Rights was the name of our company, and we made this thing called Edified. And I was like so nervous. I couldn't trust if it was good or not. I sent it to Darren Doane. I was like, hey, man, like, I know you don't have time. You're a busy guy. Could you take a look at this? Tell me if it's any good. And Darren wrote back one of the kindest things said ever about the show. It was a crappy show. It was horrible. Darren didn't think so. He actually gave it a high praise, and the show got better because of that, honestly. And so I said, hey, man, look, thank you for the encouragement for that. I'm just jumping past the story. He got hooked up with Gary DeMar down at American Vision because of that.
Uncle Gary.
My first documentary that I did, How to Answer the Fool, was created with Cy Tim Brugacate. Darren flew me out to California to work on that. But before that, right before all this happened, I went out to California for 10 days. And I said, hey, man, before I got out there, I said, hey, I want to come out there. I want to work under you. I want to learn how to make films. I want to learn how to do this business. I hear you kind of do a boot camp thing. Can I come and stay with you? And he said, absolutely. You get out here and I'll take care of you. Best 10 days probably of my life in learning to make films. Darren took me into his house, fed me, clothed me, like just had I'm going to brag on you for a second. Don't get embarrassed. Had a limo car come pick me up from the airport. Look, I had never had the type of royalty, and maybe it's because California, nobody likes going to the airport, so D's just like, just whatever. But I had royal. I felt royal.
Put it on my tab.
Yeah, put it on my tab. I'm not going out there.
I'm not going to LAX.
This kid won't last 5 days. So out there, 10 days with him. In 10 days, what I learned about filmmaking.
Well, when he showed up and I didn't realize he was black, I was like, what?
No, actually, that's another story, right? Darren was surprised when he heard my voice and he saw my beard. He's like, those two don't go together. Anyway.
That's another story I'll share.
But no, Darren was the most gracious. And I've learned from this because I think when guys get into the business, it's easy for them to criticize and tear somebody's work down instead of build them up and teach them how to get better. Yeah. And Darren was the reason I'm even in this industry right now, is because he actually built me up, let me train underneath him, and treated me really well to be able to get in the industry. So high praise to Darren. So all that to say, D, and his resume, what you don't know is that D's resume is ridiculous.
Yeah. I was just going to start breaking into it.
Go ahead.
With Wikipedia.
Darren said it's no good, so I just closed it.
Hey, I had someone like email me or call my cell phone like a week ago and said, hey, we'll start a Wikipedia page for you for $6.99.
Yeah.
$700. Someone's trying to sell like Wikipedia pages.
Wow. Well, no, but that helps a little bit because I don't know how I got a Wikipedia page, and I just thought everyone had a Wikipedia page. I never put it up, and then one day someone said like, man, you have a Wikipedia page. And I was like, well, can anyone have one? And they were like, no. And I was like, wait. There's rules to having a Wikipedia page?
Absolutely.
And
someone has to be a real fan to be able to make you your Wikipedia page.
Well, so Cross Politics grow big enough to where they charge me for it.
right? Yeah, right.
We're on our way.
We'll publish your books.
Darren Doane is an American filmmaker and music video director. Is that true
I do like that part.
Okay. In 2007, Darren formed a new commercial music video and branded content production company called Level 4 with executive producer Josh
Karchmer. Yes.
That's true?
Which is weird because it starts in 2007.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So it's really strange that the whole story starts at
2007
in the middle of a story for a 1-year venture that I had with a.
You had already taken over punk rock music video making.
Well, no,
right?
so it just kind of it's an odd story.
He started his early music video work with Ken
Dario, yes.
and directed several early Blink-182 music videos.
I mean, that's his true.
Blink-182.
Who's Ken Dario?
Well, Ken is. I mean, I could talk all day about Ken. Junior high, first day of junior high, and went Dario Doane in roll call for PE.
Oh, sure.
Right,
yeah, because you got the D's.
Yep. Right.
Yeah,
Went Dario Doane. And I was sitting there. It was the first time I had to put like gym clothes on, and you're like, you're in 7th grade, and you're still awkward because your body's not. You don't have a lot of control over your body,
sure.
and it's like, wow, now I got to wear sweats, and guys get that. And so I was sitting there, and Debbie Hemstreet, I remember Debbie Hemstreet was our PE coach, our teacher, and she said, okay, so first day, whatever, blah, blah, blah. This weekend, for anybody that wants extra points, there's a 5K run if you'd like to do it this weekend. And so Ken turns to me, I've never met him, right there in roll call. Ken turns to me, and he says, man, I would do that, but I just finished like 4 10Ks back to back to back to back. And I had never heard that kind of humor before. I was always sort of a jack, I was more of a class clown.
Yeah, just like straightforward. Like
I'd never heard that. It was like hearing punk rock for the first time or classical music. Right. I had never heard that kind of humor before. Yeah. And I was like
deadpan.
I was like, wow, that's really funny. And then after PE, he comes out from being dressed. That was still the first day of school. I got in a fight in the locker room. This big fat kid who was naked like pushed me up against the locker, and then I was sitting there in my underwear, not knowing what to do. And
this just turned to therapy.
And I remember my brother had told me, if anybody picks on you, you make sure you beat the tar out of them before the day's over, or else your life will be miserable. And I got out of, and so I get out that day. So we get out of PE, and then I'm realizing I need to go find this fat kid and pummel him. Right. As I'm walking out, though, I bump into Ken again, and he's got a T-shirt. I don't even know what the shirt means. It says "Late Night with David Letterman." This is 1984.
Yeah.
This is 1984. 7th grader wearing a "Late Night with David Letterman" T-shirt. And so I walk past him. He's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so I went across. Yeah, I went across. I waited. I saw where the kid was, the locker. As soon as the bell rang, he was still. I ran over and slammed his head in. It was really bad. I got suspended first day. And my dad and my brother were like, yes, that kid will never mess with you ever again. But Ken became my best friend. Ken went on to create. I mean, I learned everything from Ken. I was a pretty wild kid. Ken, I went over to his house one day. He had Super 8 cameras. He started showing me how to film, how to cut film, how to draw one frame at a time to make UFOs in the sky, move one frame at a time. And we were cutting, we were filming. I was like, this is awesome. We should make more stuff. But he was actually really, I mean, if Ken ever hears this, he probably won't. He was actually really kind of lazy. And so every day,
Darren,
though.
you do it for me.
No, but every day I'd be like, let's go make something. Let's go make something. Let's go make something. I learned, he showed me every movie, techniques. He knew, he's just a master. He went on to create, I mean, if you just pull up Ken Dario on Wikipedia, but I mean, he created, the Minions. I mean, Despicable Me.
Really?
I mean, he's every Dr. Seuss film that got translated into. I mean, he's just one of the funniest, most brilliant guys. And we were partners for about 10 years.
Wow.
And then one day, in the grind of this horrible business, the filmmaking, he looked at me and he goes, I think I'm just going to try to be a writer. He goes, because this is just insane. Investment, money, trying to make movies, just the brutality of everything, of just, and we all knew Ken was the smartest, funniest guy we had ever met. And it was like, I mean, you should do that, Ken. And now he's probably one of the greats, and he's had more cultural, more of a cultural impact than most people ever will.
Right. Yeah. I'm just looking at your list of music videos. I'm just going to read off a bunch of them because
we don't have time to finish all
I don't even know all of these people. I'm Audio Adrenaline, Blink-182.
Audio Adrenaline?
I remember that name.
That's hilarious.
Colby Calais?
Colby Calais, yep.
I know that name. I'm sure I've heard some of
she's fantastic.
her music.
Yeah. Zach Brown Band.
Yeah, hold on, I'm not there yet. Deftones.
Okay.
I've heard of them before.
That was
let's see here.
One of my favorites.
Jason Mraz.
Mraz
is
Mraz. That's
well, you can tell he a Christian. Can't you? Can't say none of their names.
Mraz.
Jimmy Eat World.
Yes.
Really? That's
I remember that guy. MXPX.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I became a Christian. Was I was doing all these music videos.
Supertones.
Met the Christians.
Yeah, Kid Rock.
Christians.
Wow.
Kid Rock. Yes.
Oh wow. And Supertones.
Are you helping him with his campaign?
Yeah, I did 9.
Right
I can't talk about that, but yeah. He almost got me there, but little slip up there. Yeah, I did like 12 Supertone.
Wow.
Tones.
There's only 3
video,
listed here.
You know.
I mean, think about it. And this guy,
you were doing. I'm sorry.
I stopped counting at 400.
Yeah, I remember you said
Really?
that. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the guy who's answering a Twitter message from me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in all seriousness, the thing I hate, if I have a gripe in this world, so I think the log is out of my own eye here, right? So as long as the log is out, I think you can go hog wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a world that nobody gives credit to anybody for anything. Everyone is so gosh darn cool, and everything I have,
everybody's grabbing for their piece.
And, well, it's not. I'll let you figure it out after I say it. Yeah, it's no. I mean, I'm here because of Ken Dario.
Yeah.
Junior high, first day, I learned everything I know about filmmaking from Ken Dario. I owe it all to him. Later in life, I was 18, 19 years old, trying to be a young music video director. Met a guy named Ian Fletcher. He was a legend at the time. He took me under his wing. You can come work in my office whenever you want. Use the space. Use my cameras. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Come and help. I mean, Ian taught me everything I knew about how to welcome another filmmaker in. I could go down the list.
All the people
of every single person that mentored me, and I just thought that's what you do.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And
David comes along.
And so David comes along.
You're like, oh, I know what it's like to be on that side of.
Oh, absolutely.
On the other side of Twitter, on the other side of the.
and there was 30 before him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
25 all became douchebags.
Yeah.
I mean, just complete. You can't believe.
Yeah.
The horrible people.
Yeah.
That have come under me, and then gone on to just leave their wives, become drug addicts. I mean, it blows my mind. You know, I could pull up their Wikipedia pages,
right.
You know, and so it's always just been like, wow, I cannot believe. And so I just give it away. David knows. You want to know how I do something? Here. You want to know how I edit? Here. Yeah. You want to know my magic formula? Here. You want it? Take it. I love competition. If you can take it and make it better, that's going to make me better.
Right.
But in the meantime, take it. I mean, everyone gave me everything I know about filmmaking, and now everyone is just so precious with the knowledge that they get. And it's probably the only thing that rubs me in a weird way is like, now, people don't give credit.
Now, you were doing music videos for these Christian punk bands.
Right.
MXPX, Supertones.
Yep.
And this is part of how God saved you.
Oh yeah, I was the guy. I was having this great career. Blink took off. I was working with a lot of other cool bands that were really popular.
Did Jesus ruin your career?
Yeah, well, he always does.
Always does.
He wrecks all of us.
No, I mean, I've told the story before, but literally, I was coming out of a club I shouldn't have been in, and a guy said to me, we were walking to this Vaughn's in Hollywood, and the guy says to me, "Do you want to make some money off some Christians?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Worst decision I ever made.
And
sucker.
Because I was the cool hip guy only because there was no one else doing music videos for these bands.
Right.
So when Blink-182 took off, I was the only guy doing videos. So when they went and signed every other Blink-182 band, they were like, well, Blink used Darren.
Yeah,
Let's use Darren. I was the only 19, 20-year-old doing music videos.
Right.
And the older generation of directors weren't touching those videos yet. Right. You know, those were small. You know, at that time, remember, those were $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 average music video prices.
Yep.
And here I am with Blink, and they got a $35,000 video. It's crazy. And So this guy said, hey, I know this Christian record label. There's a thing called Christian music. And I was like, Christian music? He's like, yeah. He's like, I know it sounds weird, but for every band like you know of, they have a Christian version. I was like, shut up. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. And so I got on the phone with this guy, Brandon Ebel, who runs, who ran the label that I think Brandon still runs Tooth and Nail. Yeah.
Tooth and Nail.
It's Tooth and Nail. And I got on the phone with this guy, and this guy is the most ADD, mile a minute genius I'd ever listened to on the phone. He knew more. Within 10 minutes, I was like, this guy's insane. Wow. And actually, my first video was for a guy named Mike Knott. That was actually my first video. And then it went to MXPX and then Supertones, then probably about 50 to maybe 100 different music videos. No one ever shared the gospel with me. No one ever told me Jesus had a plan for my life. No one, I was with these guys nonstop. And then
was there a difference in their lifestyles and lives?
I just wanted it.
Wow.
I didn't want their tattoos. I didn't want their drinking. I didn't want, because they were doing all that stuff. Uh-huh. So to me, I didn't think much about it. And I'd go to these music festivals with them, and I'd be walking across the lot to like find a restroom or something, and I hear someone, I'm like, still this day I can hear all the things off the stage. Would you think about it? Paul was radical. And I'd be like, who's Paul? Like I'd hear these things from the stage. I'd be like, what? But I wanted to be around these guys. I did not want to stop being
So you
around.
liked them.
I loved them.
There was something about the way they were that
I loved everything about them. Huh. I wanted to be in their family. And
wow.
And I never thought I got to become a Christian.
Right.
I just wanted to be
like
around
these people.
Yeah, I love these people. And then one day again, talking to Brandon Ebel, he talks this fast. Hey, Doane, hey, what's up? There's something about doing this. I'm going to do a video. I might start this or that. I mean, that's how Brandon talks. Okay, good. So then he said, "Me, yeah. Well, it's like Mere Christianity." And I was like, "What'd you say?" He's like, "Well, this book, Mere Christianity." Anyways, I got to go. And he hung up the phone. It's like Mere. And I went to the bookstore when we still had them, and I looked for Mirror, M-I-R-R.
Yeah, right.
It's like Mirror, and I found it.
Mirror.
And I found Mirror. I was like, oh, all right. My dad lived across the street next to it. I went to my dad's house, opened the book. I got literally maybe 2 paragraphs in. And he talks about if someone cuts in front of you in line, why do you feel like there's been an injustice? Like, why? What? And I closed it.
Yeah. This is going to get dangerous quick.
You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I mean, this is literally, I haven't gone back to it, but this is literally like a paragraph, 2 paragraphs in.
Right.
And I put the book down and I was like, I'm a line cutter. I said, I'm not reading this book. I left it at my dad's house. I came back like 6 months later. Whole other story there. We don't got time. Yeah. I came back 6 months later, got maybe through a chapter.
Okay.
And I finished the chapter and a half or something. And I put it down. And I was like, I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Lewis doesn't even talk about hell in the book.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because I've not picked it up to this day.
Okay.
It still scares you.
You read Magician's Nephew.
I read enough.
Right. Well, if I finish reading, I might become a Mormon, but I don't even know what happens if you go through more than one chapter.
12 steps.
Yeah, I don't know. Like one felt good, but it's funny. I was like, wow, and no one ever told me I was going to hell or I deserve. I became a Southern Baptist on my own. Like I deserve hell
in Hollywood.
Well, I'm not really in Hollywood. I mean, that's where it started. That was the conversation. I was still 30 miles north in suburbia.
Yeah.
But everybody else is still Hollywood.
But it's Hollywood.
Yeah, sure.
We're in Idaho.
I did live close to Shaquille O'Neal for what it's worth. But yeah, but I remember thinking like, wow, like I'm a horrible, like I was like, wow, I'm a line cutter. I'm a horrible person. Like I was like, wow, this is really, really bad. I was like, and no one walked me through it. It was just, I knew at that moment, like, everything.
You were a sinner.
I was like,
dude.
wow, yeah. But at that point, it's funny because at that point, I think what's so amazing about being in America is we know the gospel. Whether you want to joke about it,
right.
whether you want to reference it, we know the gospel. And I knew that I had to get right with Jesus.
Whatever that really was.
Right. I knew that I had to go and get right with God.
Wow.
And that's
So is that what happened? I mean, is that the moment or around the moment in which you did get right with God?
I literally drove to a little place where there was like a little mountain. I knew there was a little hill mountain area. I knew there was a little bench seating area.
Yeah.
And which is funny now to think that I went to the top of a mountain to go talk to God, right? You know,
that's what you do, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You know?
And I went up there, and again, I said, okay. I said, all right, God. I mean, it's so. I mean, I remember it verbatim, and it's hilarious. And I said, I want to have a relationship with you, but it's got to be on my terms.
How'd that work out for you?
I said, and I want to know you, but I'm not going to become a Christian because they're, you know, I think I know the group I know, but I also know like TBN.
Yeah,
right.
Which, but but here's the thing: I always watched it.
Really?
I knew it was my family.
Yeah.
It was like those were the weird uncles I didn't know yet. I wasn't going to go move in with them, but I knew they were my family. I remember watching Jesse Duplantis. I almost called Jesse Duplantis 5 different times. Like I was like, I knew it was there.
Wow.
And I was like, and I'm not going to say Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior and forgive me, and I want to be forgiven my sins and all that stuff.
Yeah, but that was the beginning.
And he grabbed me, he threw me on the ground. I put my arms up. I said, I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Boom. It was done. I was a Calvinist on day 1.
Amen. Amen.
Oh, don't you just love story time?
Oh, that's great.
D makes story time fun. More cross politics when we come back. Some more from D. I want to talk about Christian filmmakers.
Yeah. What about a little Trump?
We'll talk a little Trump, and I want to talk about your gun doc a little bit, all right?
Okay.
More cross politics with Darren Doane when we come back. That was great, man.
What's a Christian show?
I've not heard that part of the story.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've never heard that part of the story.
Good. I know.
Cross Politic has a new sponsor. Who, you might be asking? Decree Design. Decree Design is a graphic design and web development company that serves your business by helping you speak clearly through visual representation. Serving 90-plus businesses in logo design, print design, brand strategy, web development, and more. Decree Design has a skill and personal touch to customize a package specifically catered to your needs of your business, great or small, and provide personal assistance every step of the way. Whether you're a well-established real estate broker or entrepreneur getting your business off the ground, Decree Design will help your company's visual presence speak clarity and truth. For more information, please visit decreedesign.co or schedule a consultation with Joe at decreedesign.com. Yeah, Joe at decreedesign.com. Hey, and tell them Cross Politics sent you.
There we go. That's better. Options?
Hey! So, D,
man.
we just want to apologize for him. We're sorry about that. We try and tell him not to do that when we have guests.
I used to meet up with Gabe when he'd come down to California when I still lived there.
Yeah, man. Yes.
Welcome back.
D, I got some
to
stories about D.
Cross Politic on Faith Wire. We are with a special guest today, this morning, whatever time of day it is for you. Darren Doane, filmmaker, music video maker. What a story. God saved you when you're praying and telling God, I'm not going to be a Christian, and he just grabs you and throws you on the ground.
I'm not going to say I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I don't want to be forgiven. I don't want to go to hell. Yeah. And then literally, I try not to tell this part because it goes against my own theology.
But it happened.
He literally, I was sitting like in prayer position, and he literally, I can feel the shirt around my neck. He picked me up, and he just slammed me, he slammed me to my knees.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't believe that even happened.
But I was there on my knees.
I do remember getting up.
Right, no. And I remember at that moment, because for those 6 months in between, I'd been sick. And I knew it was
God.
Sin. I knew sin was bubbling. I couldn't swallow any more of my own sin.
Wow.
And at that moment, it was gone. And with no one giving me a Bible study, I knew that I wasn't sick anymore, and yet it was all there.
Amen.
Wow. I knew all my sin was there, but I knew it wasn't going to take me to hell.
But you knew that God had taken it away.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is crazy.
Right.
And then, and here's the capper, the story. Sorry, this is the best part, actually.
Right. Yes.
I got up. I said, okay, Lord, it's me and you. I'm going to go home. I got a Bible. I'm going to start reading it. And I'm not going to tell anybody.
I'm not going to be turned into one of those evangelists.
Again, I don't believe this happened, but I can tell you what happened.
Yeah.
It's the only time I've heard God's voice. And he said, no, you're not cool anymore. Oh, hold on. And I can still hear the cadence. And he said, and you're going to tell everybody about me. And it haunts me.
Wow.
It haunts me the way I heard him say, and you're going to tell everybody about me.
Message. Yeah.
And it was like, all right.
Yeah.
So I was a jerk from day one.
And here you are.
Right.
You've made a number of movies. I didn't even know you'd made a movie called God Money.
Yeah, my first movie.
Ides of March, 42K, Black Friday, The Battle for L.A. Now, I've heard of Collision.
Yeah.
Collision, that's the debate with Christopher Hitchens.
Yes.
Was that when you first met Douglas Wilson?
Yes, it was.
Oh,
that's why I'm here.
Yeah, and
Wow.
yeah, because you worked with him on that film. And then of course I know Unstoppable. That's with Kirk Cameron, right?
Yes. Yep.
And Saving Christmas.
Yes.
It also says you starred in that. Oh, you did star in
I
that.
did. I
It's
did
you
star.
and Kirk.
You're just not figuring it
You're
out.
the guy. You're the guy.
I knew that. David, you're in that one.
Yeah,
I am.
David's in that too.
Without a beard.
Against my will, Darren put me in. He's like, you're going to do this.
Without a beard, right?
Yeah, without a beard.
Without a beard. If you want to see Chocolate Knox
Without
with
a
no
beard.
beard.
That's it.
Saving Christmas.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
And then Free Speech Apocalypse,
Yes.
which is about Pastor Doug Wilson's
Indiana visit.
excitement
Yeah.
at Indiana University
Yes.
at the Kinsey Institute.
Sort of
and all
my
that.
follow-up to Collision
Yeah.
was, where's Doug today?
Yes, very good. Yeah, right.
Right.
Now, and then you've just recently done a documentary on the Second Amendment and firearms.
Yes.
Which it's called
Keep and Bear.
Keep and Bear. It's
The movie.
The movie.
Yeah, I just thought,
It's on
why not?
Amazon.
Why
Okay.
not own it, right?
And it's on Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime.
Okay, and how's it doing?
It's one of their best. I mean, they have different metrics on how they do all that, but it's one of their best documentaries on Amazon Prime.
No, you did this. You walked into our studio and you took his gun out.
Yeah.
That was the first thing.
And but all right. So you obviously you keep in.
I
you
do
bear.
carry. Yeah,
you carry.
I do carry. Yeah. So I mean, it was I was scared to death of guns. I got here to Idaho and everyone had one.
Yeah, I don't have one.
And,
I mean, I have one, but I don't carry it.
Right.
You go to our church and like all the deacons are packed.
Oh, there's open carry. I mean, live in a
Yeah.
town where there's open carry. There's discounts
Like
for
there's
open
discounts
carry.
at restaurants for-
right. And so I had a dream one night and that I was sort of walking behind my house, and in my dream I saw a gun.
Okay.
Not a revolver, but an actual, whatever we call these.
Like a rifle or
like
a handgun?
Yeah. And in my dream, I remember thinking, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I woke up and I remember thinking, I wouldn't know what to do if I found a firearm on the ground. Like I wouldn't even know how to pick it up. Is it going to explode?
Right.
If I kick it, or the whatever, I wouldn't know how to do it. And all my friends, even Dave, everything, people grab guns, they clear it, clear it, and they do this stuff and they pop the bullet and all. And I was like, I didn't have any. I was like, wow, I should probably learn about firearms. And so I think the film was originally going to be more about gun owners and the Second Amendment. But as I was going through the process, I kind of realized maybe I should just make the film about me. I didn't want it to be about me, but I was like, but this would be it was a risk.
You're kind of the ideal guy.
Representative.
Like, I don't know anything about guns.
Yeah.
And what's it like to learn about guns?
Right. And then I thought, okay, I should do that. I made that commitment to do that. And then I got really insecure because I was like, oh, the whole gun community is going to be like, what is this noob doing making a movie? Because everything I saw on guns was like bitching and cool and slow motion of bullets flying everywhere. And I wasn't making that. And honestly, by the time I was done with it, I was like, oh, I did it again. Another stinker. Like this is really, really bad. And yet it's actually Keeping Bear and probably Saving Christmas, despite kind of the controversy that came with that film. I get the most. I've never had a response like this.
Really?
I mean, both those films, I get emails all the time, and people find me and have just the nicest things to say. And the entire firearms community has embraced this film. The top people in this industry have embraced the film.
Yeah, so funny. Yeah.
And it's and they were so
NRA. Have you heard anybody from anybody there?
I actually have, and they actually asked if I would want an endorsement, and I was getting so many reviews of people. When a bad review did show up on Amazon, it was always clearly an NRA sponsored project, and so I had said to NRA, you know what? Hey, you know what? I don't need the endorsement. I think we're going to get more traction, and you don't need me. But I think we'll get more traction without an NRA endorsement.
Because the answer is actually no, it's not.
Right. Right.
I'm just a guy.
Right, exactly.
I'm just a dude.
I think what was amazing about the doc, too, it was the fact that everybody who's into guns talks past people who are not.
Okay.
Everybody who's into guns have this conversation with each other, and they just assume the other person who's nodding is with them, who has never handled a gun.
Because everybody's embarrassed and ashamed. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking
exactly.
about.
Well, and
you don't want to be the guy that raises the hand and say,
I did. I said, I'm going to raise my hand and ask every single question and be super annoying. And by the end of that process, I knew, and I took my wife along with me, and she's in the film, and we wanted to learn together. And that was kind of the twist in the film. I mean, it's not a spoiler alert because it's in the trailer, but I was more concerned for her too. And by the time we went through every single gun we could try, or 15 or 20 different ones, she hated all of them. She did not like any of them. She's like, I can't imagine me ever picking any of these up.
Okay.
And the last gun we tried was the AR-15, and it was like, this isn't going to work. This is the devil of firearms, right? And she fired that first shot of an AR-15, and she turned to me and said, "Oh, honey, you can go on a business trip whenever you want."
I like this gun.
I mean,
really,
no kick, no nothing. And she was like, I could hold off an army coming up our driveway.
Pack of wolves,
or wolves in our backyard, or literally like,
so she fell in love with the AR-15.
Loved it. And to me, that's what kind of really got me thinking in the film. I was like, wow, this is the most accessible firearm in the world to protect one's self. And people are like, but it's a killing machine. And again, I'm not a representative for firearms, but I will say, it's a killing machine.
Right.
That's what I love about
that's
it.
What it is.
Right.
Sometimes you got to kill something.
If I pull this out, it's to protect my family, and I want them all to die.
Right.
That's how this works. You come to my house, you come to my family.
You better.
You're dead.
That's right.
You're dead.
Yeah.
So it was, and that's the gun to do it.
One of the things you asked in the film was, why does everybody want to get rid of this gun when it's the most easiest to use? It's the most accurate.
I mean,
not to be like go conspiracy theorist, but like, I mean, is that why? Because it really is the best gun for self-defense.
So why did they take those straws away?
Yeah, right. I think there's a combination of, and it goes away. No one's talking about guns anymore.
Not until the next big shooting.
Right. But then it goes away, and it goes, I mean, we've seen this. We've seen this so many times. Right. I think people have a natural fear when they see something is really effective at taking human life.
Right. Yeah.
You know, look, liberals are really good at that. Liberals are really good at reading the Bible and seeing what's actually there, and liberals are also really, really good at understanding what's really, really good at taking lives.
Yeah.
Abortion doctors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They know what it is. They know how to do it. They can look at the Bible and go, hey, there's a dragon in the first part of the Bible and a dragon at the end. Right. And evangelicals are like, you're reaching.
That's so real.
Because the liberals, they don't believe it.
Right.
So they can
there's
say
nothing to lose for their denomination.
Say what's exactly there.
Right.
And then be like, and then laugh it off.
Right.
Be like, isn't that hilarious?
Right.
But the conservatives actually claim to believe it.
So that's what's amazing about Jordan Peterson, though, because he doesn't come to it in the same way that conservative Christians do, as far as the Bible, talking about the Bible.
Yeah.
And so he sees all these archetypes, and he sees he's like, oh, here's a tree, there's a tree, there's a dragon, there's a dragon. Right.
Well, and the reason why everyone loves Jordan Peterson is because no one thinks he really believes the Bible.
Right.
Well, but he's still got some good biblical principles.
Exactly.
At the same time, though,
but no one's really threatened by Jordan Peterson.
But they feel threatened by him. That's why they try and take him out, though, especially in the media. Jordan Peterson's a threat. As soon as he starts saying there's no such thing as white privilege, everybody wants to kill that man. They want to take him out, right?
Or when he's willing to say, I'm not going to go along with your pronoun rules,
but
take me to jail.
But it's a give and take, because they also go, but he doesn't think the Bible is really the word of God. So
he's not that big of a threat.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sure.
It's okay.
He's got a gun, but it's not loaded.
Right.
Or
pretty
it's not
much.
chambered.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
He's threatening, but not to death.
Yeah. The only threatening person is a person who actually believes the word of God. That's it.
Why?
Because people can't. And I remember not being a Christian, so I remember what it's like. It fades the longer you're in faith, right? But there is nothing more offensive than somebody who is not going to back down, who believes in an absolute. Once someone believes in an absolute, it's scary. You know, it's the who said it? I'd rather fight X amount of men as opposed to one Calvinist. I forget, Napoleon or somebody like that. There is something. There is something about when you know somebody is not going to budge, and you can go deeper on that, just the sort of twisted aspect of our fallen nature. but that is
terrifying.
It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And so we can argue, we can discuss these things. We can, it's like, but as long as someone
actually believes this,
right. But as long as at the end of the day we can line up that these are all just Jewish myths, we're cool.
Yeah,
right. That's right.
We're not ultimately threatened.
Right.
At the end of the day, the man that fears God and raises his family to fear God is the most dangerous thing that could ever happen to a liberal. You know what I mean? Like that's real.
And baptize their babies.
Baptize your kids if you have children.
Okay, so real quick,
you got some.
So the call conference happened a couple weeks ago. Darren, you're supposed to be speaking there, and didn't happen. And there are a lot of bum people, but some of those people actually watch Cross Politics. So I want a little sample of what you were going to talk about the call conference, because here's what if you haven't seen it, Christian Filmmaker out there by Darren Doane.
That really assumes that I knew what I was going to say.
Oh, you told me already you had a little lineup. You did.
I was going back and forth, but it was probably going to be a hybrid one of kind of mentorship, like I talked about.
Oh,
today.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I was probably going to talk about mentorship and the importance, really, of that. Because it was, when I get asked to talk somewhere, I'm always like, man, like I usually go and then I just kind of wing it. And I get like a good vibe, but then I end up like in a report somewhere that I said something. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And so I honestly was like, I should probably pray about this one, and maybe actually pray that maybe I'd say something to help somebody. No, really. I was like, I'm gonna
end up on the front page.
Right. And Gabe seemed really sincere that he was charging people to come here and all that stuff.
I better be ready.
I was like, I should. No, I was like, I'm gonna start praying. I was like, just who prays? And so I mean, you're a pastor, so
yeah, I'm your pastor.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's good to be here.
Good to open up.
So I was like, I really want to bring some, and then I started thinking about like all the things I could maybe bring to a discussion or a conversation, and then I go like, well, that sounds so boring. Like, wow, like, do people really listen to boring? Like, man, I could spice it up with my energy, but that was like. And then I get really, and then I start to, and I get real confused on like what do I actually want to bring to somebody, and the only real talk I've given was the one you just
mentioned,
Filmmaker.
Oh my goodness, go watch that.
And I didn't know what I was going to say, and it was right around the time of knowing Doug Wilson, and I said, I don't really know how to talk. I don't know if I want to go talk. I don't know what to say about filmmaking and engage the culture. No offense, I'm just saying, but everyone just says the same thing, And I was like, I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Like, it's like when people say, "Do it all the glory of God." I'm like, I don't know what you mean.
Right.
I have no idea what that means.
Oh, it's absolutely,
right?
It's vague.
And so engaging the culture with film, I was like, I don't know. And then Doug said to me, why don't you give a talk and try to convince people that they will never be filmmakers?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, and then so as I thought about the Called conference, I thought, well, that's what I'll do at Called is I was preparing something which is going to be was going to go a little bit like I left my phone over there. I actually wrote notes down. But just the last segment?
Yeah.
Just it? Well, I was going to say that...
Don't pay this no attention.
Well, okay. Well, I see a number go. Well, I was going to say that be very careful about working hard, because ultimately, wherever you're going to end up with a job, they don't care about hard work. They don't want you to be innovative. They don't want you to be outside the box. There's nowhere you're going to go where that's going to be accepted.
And thank you for listening to Cross Politics. Hey!
It is...
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You go to a company, you get somewhere, and you're like, I'm going to change things. I think we can step things up. You will be hated so quickly. You will be despised so quickly. Yep. I mean, nobody wants innovation. They'll bring in personality tests for you. They'll do weekend camps for you to be able to get outside your comfort zone, and we're going to climb a mountain together, and we're going to learn to tackle goals and increase our sales because we've all done a team trust fall. Yep. No. They do not want you to do anything special. They want you to shut up and be a cog and slowly work your way into a position when it opens up. And so that's the reality of a job.
That's right.
Goes back to the Daniel thing, which is amazing. You get 7 verses into Daniel. These teenagers hauled away from home to a foreign land, and Daniel says, "Excuse me, I'm not going to eat this food from the king."
Grabbing those notes.
You know?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, that's
7 verses in.
That's the same deal though. Is that's exactly what the world wants.
Yeah.
They fly the flag of be different fly the flag of be unique, be creative, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you get in, and that's exactly what they want. They want you to eat the king's food.
And what happens when we get into those situations is you would think that boldness that we have to want to change things up and get excited and change the world. What we do is we settle in and say, "Oh, okay, if that's what you want."
Which means though that
I do need a job.
But which means though is that you actually have to be willing to be hated.
Right.
Like Darren said, you actually have to be willing to stand out, stick out, and it's going to be over something probably initially fairly insignificant.
Yeah, and I was gonna, and that's where I was gonna try to explore and think about it. And I was still staying on a very base level of that, in my opinion. And again, I don't go soliciting for people to say, "Hey, I'm Darren Doane, I want to tell you what I think." Right? Cross Politic invited me, called conference invited me. I'm not going around going, "Hey, I got some thoughts, Gabe.
Right?
Give me a platform."
Yeah.
So if this is offensive, I didn't ask to be here.
No, we asked him to be here.
So no, but it really but the thing is that company culture, no matter how they do not want you to be trying to work really, really hard. So if you're at a company, it's probably best not to. And either figure out how you're going to get to somewhere or do something that you can in such a way work that hard. But the last 10 years or so, I've just seen this trend of the culture acting like they want the best out of you, acting like, and Christians are the worst at this. Christians talk, especially Reformed, like we're going to somehow change the world and we're going to do all these different things and all that. And then I look down and you got a timer going, right? Like, well, this is how all the other shows do it. It's got to be X amount of time because everyone that came before us only talks for an hour or 48 minutes. You get a commercial break. You get this. And I get it.
We've seen the survey results.
Right?
You can't be talking about me because I flipped the timer over.
No. But I say this because this is what I wrestle with. Every time I find myself going down this road, I go, why am I on this road?
Yeah.
Because the sign said, go here.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay,
right. I'm going to go here.
You should start your 401k now.
Right.
You should,
we assume the standard.
You should make a particular kind of film, and then you should do this in your career, and then you should do that, and then you should make an edgy film or try to be. I was like, what am I doing? And so, and David knows this. I'm always trying to think, and I was like, why am I doing that? And so I say that not as someone that's going, oh, I think this is all you guys are all, I'm like saying like, no, I think we have to push ourselves in such a way to go, wait. Have we really thought about this? Why are we doing it this way? And again, none of us in a unique way work for a particular person as far as we're all kind of doing our own thing.
I work for Jesus.
You do, and we're
I
thankful
do too,
for
actually.
that. I know. In a lot of ways, I pay your salary. And you kind of work for me. But and this is why I would have figured and thought about it more once I got to actually talk about it. But I'm trying to develop this idea that I don't know. There's.
You're right. You're right.
I don't
There's something really big there because I think you're absolutely right. Christians go into the business world. They go into post college life, and they go into it with all kinds of naivete. They go into it with all kinds of high hopes and big dreams and all to the glory of God. And I'm going to work hard and all this kind of stuff. And I don't think we really know the first thing about what's it really like to be there. What's it going to be like boots on the ground when you got to pay the bills, when you have a wife and kids, when that's on the line? Like if you go deviate a little, you really might get fired. You might get past, you might not get the promotion.
But what's the flip? I wish we could walk into, I would challenge people to walk into a place and say, listen, I want to know how you're going to gauge me in my job performance here. And I want to know what the goals are going to be that I can achieve, if not crush. And if I crush those goals, I want to know then what's my next paycheck?
Yeah, exactly.
And if they say, well, it's not the way things work, you just stepped into a rigged game.
Let me tell you something.
That's right.
You got me fired from a job for thinking like that.
Yes.
This is. I'm going to tell you something. Now, look, this is. No, absolutely.
Yeah,
and it was.
Ain't that truth?
And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, honestly, that kind of thinking is what messed up my world. Because when you pick up a camera and say you want to be a filmmaker, all you're thinking about is how good does my image look. But you're not thinking about the game. You're not thinking about. And so when I came under you, you were like, throw that out there, man. You'll figure out how to work with a camera. Let me put you on the game. And that was the most rewarding thing for me learning filmmaking. Was like I learned how to play the game a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's still to this day, like we still talk about that. This keeps me sharp.
Well,
you know?
to that point a little bit too is like what's the predominating culture right now? It's like you go to college, you get this degree, and you go to get this job at this company.
Right. Get your cubicle.
Get your cubicle. Sit in your cubicle. Right. Don't mess with anybody's hair.
And eat the king's meat.
But this is what it means to be a Calvinist. Yeah. Is we want you to go out and take dominion over the whole world. We want you to start businesses. We don't want you to just
start
be a cog in the wheel.
Exactly. Start families, start businesses.
Be innovative.
Push.
Keep going.
But don't get me wrong. If I got to end on something, I love the guy working in the cubicle.
Yeah.
But if you're in the cubicle and one day you say to yourself, I don't want to be in the cubicle, okay, then all this applies.
Yep.
If you're going to that cubicle job and you're like, praise God, I got a job. I am so thankful to be here. And you don't have that burn but if you're looking around going like, I can't look at the way they do stuff here. Man, if I was running this place, I'd be doing this or that. So if you have that burn, then you got to get out. Right. If you don't have that burn, that's great. We love you. We need those boots on the ground.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. Until next week, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. Darren, thanks again for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Go check it out. What is it? Keeping Bear?
Keeping Bear,
like
the movie. Yeah. Just Google Darren Doane. What's wrong with you people?
What's wrong with you?
Buy my old tweets.
Man, you should have never left Twitter.